Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. After this short break, I would like to thank everyone who reached out and asked about my videos. I hope you are all doing great and having a nice day. In this series, I'm sharing my experience at Microverse as a Microverse student or as a Micronaut. For those of you who doesn't know what Microverse is, you can pause your screen and read. This video is about week 6 and 7 at Microverse, or the first and second weeks of the second module, which is about JavaScript. I'm gonna share the projects and activities we had so far alongside my personal experience. In these 2 weeks, we worked in 2 main projects. The first one was about awesome books, and the second one is a to-do list project. The first one is the awesome books is a project to showcase books arrangements using JavaScript. As we can see here, we worked in different, so it was divided into 3 days. This project we completed in 3 days. So in day 1, we worked in the plain JavaScript with objects branch, which, as you can see, we added the skeleton. We built the skeleton of the web page with the following functionality, which is create the object. So we create the object where we will save our books inside. So each book will have an ID, a title, and author. We also added add a new book function. So when we write a new book here and we click add, it's added dynamically, and also the remove book, it's working, and displaying books. So displaying books dynamically means that when we remove it and when we add a new one, it adds up in the real time. And last thing was making the object preserved in local storage. What does that mean is when a user added these books and they close the tab or refresh the tab, it will be still saved in the browser. Day 2, we worked on the, let's move to the second branch, which is refactored to use JavaScript classes. So as you can see the difference, in day 2 we used classes. So instead of using an object, we started using classes, where we added the same functionality just in the class now. Like instead of separate functions all over the place, now all the methods are inside the class. And updating the design, so now it looks more nicer. So we have the name of the book and the author ordered in this way, and the same functionality still works. So we can add, for example, book 4 and author 4, and it will get added. On day 3, we finalized the project in this branch, which is a complete website with navigation. And what did that do is we needed to add 3 different pages. So one page for adding a new book, the other page for listing the book, and the third page is for contact. And the good thing with that is like using it in the conventional way, like with only HTML and CSS, for every page we will need to create like a whole new page. But the good thing with JavaScript is that we don't really need to, since we are in the same page, but we can move to the other pages while we are in the same page. And that's thanks to JavaScript. We can control the elements to make specific one appear and disappear when we click certain elements. So when we click the contact, in my code, it makes the add page and the list page disappears, and we have this page. So that's one big thing of using JavaScript, of making our website dynamic and doesn't need more data. So instead of building 3 pages, we are controlling the elements in the same page. What else did we do? We added a navigation bar, the 3 contact sections, and using the wireframe, which is just easy sketches to give us the start of the project. And to make that happen, in the JavaScript file, we can see that we defined many variables and defining the add event listeners. And this is the secret weapon of JavaScript. The event listeners is that when you click an element, you can control the behavior of your page, of your website, and that's really powerful. And so as you can see, this is the whole JavaScript file. It's quite long. So that's how we ended the first week. When we moved to the second week, we learned about the ES6 implementation. So if you don't know what's the ES and its relationship to JavaScript, you can pause your screen and read. Also, why we are using ES6 instead of the latest version. It's that because in ES6 they implemented a really core features that they are still used even in the further versions. Again, you can pause your screen and read. So the last implementation of this same project, we did it in the second week, which is ES6 implementation. So one first thing you can notice is that my JavaScript file now is much smaller, and that's thanks to the modules. So instead of having all the functions in the same file, now they are set alone inside this modules. So if we can see, the navigation is in a separate file, the time function, the initializations, desktop navigation, the book class, and the view box, everything now is separate and is more modular, and that's really thanks to the help of the ES6. One example here I want to show is just instead of using the normal functions where we will define function and then the name and then start, we have the arrow functions, which shows that your JavaScript file now is using the ES6 syntax. So that's all for the first project. The second project we worked at is the to-do list, and the to-do list is just a project to showcase daily tasks arrangement with the help of Webpack. And again, it was divided into 3 days. So on the first day, we started by implementing the Webpack to bundle JavaScript. And if you don't know what Webpack is, you can pause your screen and read. So on the first day, in addition to implementing Webpack, we worked on making the main design. So as you can see, this is the first branch, list structure. So we just worked on setting up the design, making the design of the to-do list, adding the input section where you can write your new list element, and adding the array of elements or array of objects where each task will have 3 different keys. We'll have a description, we'll have completed, check if it's false or not, or true, and index. And in the first day, just making this object and making the whole design without any functionality, just showing everything. In the second day, we worked in add and remove. So if we move to the second branch we worked on, so now our website or our to-do list can add a new task. So we can add a task 1, task 2, etc. It can remove, so we can remove a certain task, and we can edit the task. So if this one is, now we make it task 1, we can edit it and update the array of objects that we have. And that's it. Despite it looks easy, but that actually was the heaviest day of the week, because adding all these different functionalities, looking into the indexes and stuff, it was really not that easy. The third day, we had to do the interactive list. So let's switch to the interactive list branch. And this now is the complete website where we can add tasks, task 4, etc. And we can delete them. And when we check each task, it's updated in our object. So if you remember, we had the completed check, which shows false or true. So now, using the change event listener, when we click here, it updates in our object. And the last functionality was clearing completed. So now we have all our objects, we can delete the unwanted, and we can check the completed, and we can clear them out of the list. So that's all for the to-do list project. In addition to these two projects, we solved some coding challenges and learned also very important topics. I listed all of them, so you can pause your screen again and read. And that's all for the projects and activities we had in these 2 weeks. I want to say that these 2 weeks were not as stressful as the whole first module. Just like the first module was just like a torture. We are getting familiar with the workflow. I know what to do when I get stuck, and it's becoming just easier, while at the same time we are still learning a lot. My advice is, as it's becoming less stressful, you can explore other sources, you can contribute on open source projects, or you can just learn anything new. Like for me, just learning this video editing and YouTube thing is my new thing. Finally, don't forget the like, subscribe, and notification. If you have any questions, add a comment, connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Have a beautiful day and happy coding.